So what is up you guys, my bro photographers, sister photographers. Welcome to my channel. In this channel, I'm trying to help entrepreneur photographers, image makers, video makers, editors, you name it, my people, to get better at your craft. In this video, I want to talk about how to start out as a photographer. For me, when I started out was back in 2004, no, actually in 2008 when I went full time. But yeah, I did it. I did it the hard way. I did piece by piece. I did it by mailing, and I did it by contacting people and just get out there and get the work. I did many things online, but after years of struggling, I came across actually this book, and I do think people have heard about it, but not many still don't know the concept about this book. And this concept is really, really powerful, which I wanted to, well, talk about it today, to get more known with creatives, because I do think creatives are creative and not especially an entrepreneur. And this book helps you giving an overview about what are you doing in your business. One insight I had in the beginning with this book is, for example, that every business and every organizations and even ourselves, our own body, everything which offers value is um, is actually f- fitting in a business model. Is existing of 9 business model blocks. So those blocks. So as you can see here are the 9 building blocks all fitting together. You can start out with the clients, like your customer segment which you are trying to reach. Then your offer is over here. So once again, here's an overview from the business model. So all those blocks which I'm talking about are in every organization, and the blocks are, you can put it in a canvas, and this is the way the blocks fit together. So what you want to do is start out with your customer segment. Which customer are you trying to help? Uh, and notice that I said segment and not customer. So you don't want to help everybody, because then you will reach nobody. So what you do is you try to find a more niched down market, but in that way it's more about a segment. But anyway, you also have a proper value proposition, what you want to bring to that market, what you want to deliver it, or and keep relationship with your customers. So what you can do is like, okay, how do I keep and build and maintain the relationship with my customer, and how do I deliver it to my customer, my value proposition. And for example, well, I will give you some example just in a minute, but I want to give you an overview. So on this side, if you bring value, it will also bring you value like income, for example. It doesn't have to be, but for example, this side will give you some turnaround one way or another. It doesn't have to be like a profit, because then you would take a look at this side of the model. So what do you need? Actually, what you need to do, your key, what's that again? Here I have a larger overview, it's much better to see. So what are your key activities? So what are your key activities to make that offer? And what are your key resources? So in order to do that, you also have key partners here in this side. So this makes the canvas more complete. And eventually, this side of the canvas will bring you a cost structure. So what are the costs of doing business to make your value proposition and actually deliver it to your customer, which happens to be giving you value back, like in maybe like income revenue. So the goal of this canvas, what you want to have is like that there's a balance between both sides, so that your income equals your cost structure. Your income structure will equals your cost structure, because that model fits in a non-profit system, for example. But as an entrepreneur, if you have a profit as a goal, then of course you can see here if this side is bringing you profit. And what you also can do is see how big the cost structure is. So what can you do on this side on the canvas to bring the cost down? And that is very relevant today in times of crisis. So what you want to do is actually design these blocks for your business, so that you have a good overview on what you're doing right now. And it's even better to make, for example, 1 to 100 designs, but you pick the design which fits best at the moment right now. So that's like a few tips which I read in the book. So what I wanted to try to do is actually make a short design a business model for photographers and for video makers, perhaps, or even for creatives. And everyone who watches this video can also fill in this canvas with me yourself. And I will start out with a blank page, and we'll see where we get. Let's start out with building those blocks. So what we start out with is our business value proposition, then the client segment we want to reach, then this is actually the business proposition, and this is the channel, how we deliver our value to our customers. Then on this side, what was it again, the key activities. Then we have our key resources, and then our key partners. All right. One of the best ways is to design this is actually to do it really on paper. You can also do it digital like this, but the best way is to do it on post-it papers. And even better is to do it with pictures. Rather draw pictures than use words. In this example, I will try to use words because I don't have that much space to draw on. But that way, with post-its, you can move your ideas around the canvas. Sometimes things are like, okay, this item or this subject in this block can also fit in the other one, which has immediately effect on the income structure or the cost structure, for example. So if you start out as a photographer, let's take that as a case. You have to think about, okay, what is the value proposition you offer to your customer segment? So a basic, what the first thing you would think is like, okay, I offer photography as a value, but photography is not the value you bring to the customer, because a photographer doesn't want photography. What they want is a nice portrait of themselves. They want to feel beautiful. They want to have more followers. So that is what is behind. That's what you have to think of delivering value. So try to put that as a value item in your value proposition. So what you can do is like more specific. well, you can start out like noting like you offering is portrait photography, portrait photos for LinkedIn. Let's make LinkedIn so that they attract more customers for themselves. So the value, and it is actually still difficult to think about the value you actually deliver. Maybe professional vibe. In Dutch we say uitstraling, but I don't know. Clear, professional pictures. Well, let's say this is our value proposition. Portrait photos for LinkedIn, professional clear pictures, right? Well, then you have to say, okay, who is looking for that? So maybe people who are looking for a new job, for a new opportunity, for example. They don't have a good picture yet. So, and you want to have them as a customer. So here, for example, you can say, okay, my customer segment are people in between jobs. You can also say, okay, people, what age are they? So 18 till, no, like 24 years old until 35 or something. So working class. Maybe you're specialized only in taking pictures of men, which makes it more a segment. This is enough, I think. So now what you want to ask yourself is like, okay, how do I maintain or build a relationship with that customer segment? And the channel is actually how you deliver your value proposition. But what you want is actually to reach out for them first as a value. So, okay, maybe you can make here an offer like offer a course on make better selfies with their phones. So the reason why this has to do with relationship is that you offer something where they get to where you give the opportunity that when they get to know your work. So if you can bring them results and they would download, for example, this course, so you have their email address, so you reach them out by email, like an opt-in. Let me change color for a minute. Then you start to build a relationship, because then you can teach them something, maybe in a few days, or maybe you can reach out to them by emails. I saw that you downloaded this, and then you can start a relationship first with your customers, and they will get to know you, like you, and hopefully eventually trust you. So the channel you use for that is, for example, MailChimp. Well, this is the same like email. But then if they trust you and they were like, okay, I want to have your service. I don't want it to do myself, but it gave me results. But I want even more professional pictures. Then I will reach out to you, and then you think about, okay, which channels are we using for this? So the channel you deliver your value proposition is actually like digital by email. So you send them the pictures by email. You send them the pictures by WeTransfer. That is a channel. It is free until 2 gigabytes. But for example, if you use the paid version retransfer, it doesn't fit in this site. So then retransfer becomes a resource or a key partner. So then you have to pull retransfers to the key resources. But social media, which it can also be actually a to be building relationship with them. So you have to move it over there. And you'll send it by Dropbox. So they have access to your Dropbox and they can pull the pictures from then when you're finished delivering the pictures. No, you can think of your own, I think. Well, then now you have filled in this side of the business model canvas, and what you then get is a cost structure. So, what do you ask for the selfie course? Maybe you don't give it for free, but you ask like maybe 19 euro for it, for example. That is also an opportunity to build a relationships with his paid as well. And eventually, what also is a cost income structure is also build up a mailing list of this customer segment. This is also because the list, money is in the list, as they say. So this one also fits in the income structure, a list which you build. So eventually from that list, a few people will buy. For example, maybe those 3 people. They will buy and eventually they will pay for your services. For example, maybe a $150 or 150 euro for a portrait, which means eventually they will buy 3 products, which is actually 3 times 150, So, and what you also can do is like make a calculation in this income structure. So what you actually need for 3 months for the first quarter. So for example, you want to get 15,000, 15K in the first quarter. Now you can take a look at this. Okay, how many customers do I need? So this is the way you can design all these separate blocks and see where the income structure comes from. Well, on this side is, okay, what do I need to do? What are my key activities? So your key activities is actually taking pictures. But also if you make a mini course for them, for the relationship, for example, then you also need to make the course. And also you have to make a website, build a portfolio, gather testimonials. So here you make a list of key activities, what you have to do to make a value proposition. And the key resources, often you can take a look at what are your key activities and what are your key resources needed for that. Well, actually you need a camera, which costs money. You need lenses. Do you need a studio? Maybe you can rent it. So there's a little kind of brainstorm over here. And then you can take a look at your resources and your key activities. Okay, who are my key partners who can help me with this? For example, for the most obvious example is for your camera, your key resource, key partners is actually the camera store. So who gives you a good service and delivery of the equipment you need? But you can also think of a model like, okay, I don't only do renting. So like maybe renting places, which gives you another kind of cost structure. Um, Maybe you need studio places. Who in your neighborhood is renting a studio? Or maybe you can use your own house. What do you need in your house to make a portrait studio, for example? So now what you do is like, okay, you're brainstorming, but you're also designing. And what you want to do is like, okay, how can I make the costs as low as possible? And this one as high as possible. So, for example, maybe the cost of doing business on this side of the canvas is costing you, let's say, 5,000 for a quarter of a year. You can also think about the business model in terms of a year, but why you want to do this in a quarter? Because it's crisis right now, so we have to take it one step at a time. But the bills are still going on each month, so it's better to have like a 3-month goal. So this is my advice. And then you can also change this model, this canvas, the next 30 days of the next 90 days after, and then next quarter, and then the next quarter. So if you make up this canvas, then you can say, okay, what I have to do is now I don't buy cameras anymore because that costs a lot of money. What you can do is, for example, oh, I don't need a camera. By buying it, you're renting it. Or maybe you say, okay, let's buy it on eBay or on Marktplaats to save money if you really need it. And what you also can do is like maybe, let's say, so no, what you can do is like strip down. For example, studio photography is also difficult. Then maybe you can do like a portrait on location outside, for example. But what you want to do is don't put a lot of things in the business model canvas. Keep it as simple as possible so that you can use that canvas. Also, you can design more canvases. So keep in mind, once again, you want to make it simple. And the reason you want to make it simple is because you want to don't confuse yourself as well and your market as well. So keep it simple for yourself. And if you're working in a larger team, then I would eventually buy this book and see the tips in this one. This is really a game changer for teams as well, because it also explains how you can even make better canvases for your business. Because of the fact that you have more input of different kinds of people. And then you also, what you can do is test this canvas in the current market. There are also strategies for that: blue ocean strategy, red ocean strategies. It is really a complete, a full pack of knowledge about business model. The book is called businessmodelgeneration.com. You can also take a look at that. Actually, I don't want to go more in depth because this is just an example, so you can understand how these blocks work and what you can do with it. But if you are serious in filling this out, just do this. And if you do this, you will get so many ideas on how you can make a better plan for your business and eventually make the steps accordingly. So if you have any question on how I do this for myself, or maybe if you have more questions about the business model canvas on how you can apply it to your business, leave a comment and we can help each other out, because I do think there are more people that heard of this, and then we can all help each other out in these times. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one.